Hi guys, my name is Nathan and I work for MAF UK. MAF stands for Mission Aviation Fellowship. We're a charity, a humanitarian organisation, a Christian mission and the world's busiest international airline. You see, we fly 130 plus aircraft in 27 developing nations. We serve more individual locations than the top 10 airlines combined. 3,000 bush airstrips, not like Heathrow, what we're used to with tarmac and concrete, but hewn out of jungles, landing on rivers and lakes or the tops of mountains. You see, the vision for MAF is to reach the least, the lost and the isolated, those with the most need in the hardest to reach places. In the UK, we're very privileged to have free education, nationalised healthcare, access to clean water and adequate food. And there's so many boundaries that might come up that prevent an individual or a community or a country from having access to those basic needs. I'm going to draw your attention to a small boy named Mika that I heard about a couple of years ago. The community Mika lived in was on a mountainside in Indonesia on the island of Papua. Mika was out with his friends picking fruit in trees when he had an accident and fell out. Unfortunately, he was left with life-threatening injuries. The nearest community for Mika to go to get medical care was nearly a 5-day journey. While it was only a few kilometres, the landscape, the jungles and the mountains was far too much for him to be able to navigate safely. Thankfully for Mika, one of our mission partners contacted MAF and we were able to get in one of our light aircraft, such as the one pictured behind me, in order to get him to the essential medical care. Mika's life was saved in that flight, and a couple of days later he was able to return to his community. Mika's life hasn't only been transformed by this one incident. You see, Mika has an education provided by resources flown in by one of MAF's mission partners. He has adequate access to drinking water and to food and to healthcare, simply because his village is frequented by MAF flights. You see, many of the countries we operate in don't have access to planes, trains and automobiles. They don't have bridges and hospitals in the same way that we do. Aeroplanes give us a really unique means of reaching those in the hardest to reach places. We partner with over 2,000 organisations. So we don't just focus on our own work, we enable thousands of organisations to reach millions of people with aid, development and the love of Christ. You see, we aim to provide practical help, physical healing and spiritual hope. We've been doing so for 75 years now. It's our birthday this year. And we started with 2 men and 1 aircraft. And we have grown so greatly through God's provision. But the work is not yet done. If you'd like to connect with MAF further, I'd encourage you to sign up for our free youth magazine. It's got competitions and articles. It'll really expand your knowledge of the world that we live in. It will identify how you can be involved in our adventure. Feel free to also connect with our socials and go to our website at maf-uk.org/youth. God bless.
Hi, it's really great to be with you here online at United Breaks Out. It would have been lovely to have been joining together now in person, but unfortunately due to the impact of the coronavirus, that is simply not possible this year. As you've just seen in the short film, MAF aircraft fly to reach the most isolated communities around the world. And we have all seen and experienced the impact the coronavirus has had in our communities and our country this year. And so you can imagine the effect it has had on those around the world for whom isolation is the normal. In some cases, those whose nearest community is perhaps a 4-day walk away. And as with many other organisations this year, MAF's operations have been affected. In some cases, in some programmes, our flying hours have been down by 75% on the equivalent time last year. And the virus itself has meant that we've had to put in extra social distancing and protection measures in our worldwide programmes, installing in some cases protective screens in our aircraft, the wearing of face masks, disinfecting aircraft and equipment on a regular basis, along with many other measures. In addition to that, country restrictions and lockdowns have also meant that we've had to adapt our ability to serve depending on the restrictions imposed in a particular country. And yet, throughout the last few months, our aircraft have still been able to make a difference to so many isolated communities, bringing in vital supplies where they are needed most. We've been actively involved in supporting those communities by flying COVID testing kits, information and literature, providing guidance on safe distancing, hand washing, and also where needed we've been responding to help those physically impacted by the virus. The isolation that many of us went through this year was hard, but for those who rely on MAF to support them around the world, isolation is their normal. So we would love to give you the opportunity to find out more about the work of MAF by following the link that will come up shortly on your screen. It will allow you to sign up for our Discovery Air Pass journey and see the world from a unique perspective. Why not come and fly with us from country to country to find out what it's like to live, work and serve in some of the most isolated places on Earth. Every couple of months you will receive completely free of charge a series of inspiring communications featuring updates from our pilots, real life stories, fascinating facts and opportunities to pray for our work. MAF have been flying for 75 years, taking help, hope and healing to the most isolated and vulnerable people around the world. Please help us to continue to make a difference. Thank you and goodbye.